Well, now we are going to see what happens with the principal verbs in English and the auxiliary verbs in English. Maybe you are at the elementary level of the English language and you have always found the area of principal and auxiliary verbs a little bit difficult to catch, hard to understand. So perhaps I can help you with this video. And I will see if I can explain this as simply as possible. So, this is our topic now, principal and auxiliary verbs in English. What are they? First of all, what is a verb? A verb is the principal part of a sentence. Without a verb, we have no sentences. They say that we have, in a sentence, we have the subject and the predicate. Well, the principal element in the predicate is the verb. And what is an auxiliary verb? The auxiliary verb is a kind of assistant. So the verb is the most important part of the sentence, but sometimes that principal part of the sentence needs something to assist it. That's the auxiliary verb. And that is what we are going to see in this video. How many types of verbs are there in English? Well, actually, we have principal or main verbs, we have auxiliary verbs, and we also have modal verbs. But at this level of the language, elementary level, we are not going to pay so much attention to the modal verbs. So let's focus on main verbs and auxiliary verbs. What is a verb? Well, a verb is one of the main parts of a sentence, as I said before. Um, the principal part of a sentence or the principal part of a question in English. You can't have a sentence and you can't have a question without a verb. That's the reason why the verb is really important. It's the action when you speak. Uh, let's make associations to understand what they are. Look at that picture. That is a man, of course, a cell phone, a briefcase, and he says, I'm the boss. Yes? So let's think of the main verb as the boss in a company. Let's associate that character, the boss in a company, with main verbs in English, principal verbs in English. And look at her. That's the secretary in that company. The secretary. The secretary is the auxiliary verb. So we have the boss, the main verb, and we have the auxiliary verb, the secretary, the assistant. The assistant is also called the helping hand in a company. Well, the auxiliary verb is also called helping verb. We have principal verbs, for example, speak, sing, run, jump, swim, drink, eat, teach, learn, cook, read, etc. Those are examples of verbs, principal verbs. And these ones, do, does, am, is, are, or did, are the auxiliary verbs. The do and the does are the auxiliary verbs for the for the simple past tense. Am, is, are also play the role of auxiliary verbs when we are dealing with the present continuous tense. One thing, only when they are playing the role of the present continuous assistant, because then we have the classic I am Alicia, you are a student of English, he is a doctor, she is a lawyer. So in those examples, the verbs am, is, are not auxiliary verbs. They are working as plain verbs, pure verbs, but that is not the present continuous tense. They only play the role of assistants when we are working with the present continuous tense in English. And then we have the auxiliary of the past. The auxiliary is did. So those are examples of helping verbs. There are hundreds of verbs in English, and there are some auxiliary verbs in English. So, look at the boss. He says, I'm the boss. And he is in that area in which affirmative sentences are working. Who's working in the affirmative sentences? Affirmative sentences. The boss. The boss is working in affirmative sentences, but in negative and interrogative sentences, the boss is relaxing. He's not working. So what does that mean? That means that when we are working with affirmative sentences, it is the boss, it is the principal work, the one who does the action with no help at all. There is no assistant doing anything in those sentences. I work from Monday to Friday, that's an example. He goes to the office every day. She cooks pasta at weekends, but yes, they are present simple tenses, but there is no auxiliary verb in any of the sentences. The assistant is not there. It is the boss, the one who is working. So the principal verb is working there. But in negative and interrogative sentences, I don't work on Sundays, he doesn't go to the gym, she doesn't cook pasta on Mondays, the auxiliary verb is there, connected with a negative particle, but actually, who is the one which is negating? It is the auxiliary verb. It is the helping verb. Don't, doesn't. And the boss, work, go, cook. The boss is not doing anything. The boss is relaxing. Look, don't work, doesn't go, and doesn't cook. So again, the boss is not working in negative and interrogative sentences. Who works when the boss relaxes? The secretary, look at her, she's doing everything. Does she work? Does the boss work? Do you work? So those are questions, those are interrogative sentences. And the secretary is asking these questions. It is the secretary, the one who is working here. Look at her. She continues working. In this case, with negative sentences. So the secretary appears in interrogative and negative sentences. Again, so this wants to be an introduction to auxiliary verbs, a simple introduction to auxiliary verbs. So auxiliary verbs, also known as helping verbs, that is what the AKA stands for, also known as. So the auxiliary verbs, also known as helping verbs, are used with the main verbs. They are necessary. They indicate tense. They can work in active and passive voice sentences. They do work in negatives, in questions. We've just seen that. Also, when we give short answers, for example, is that your car? Yes, it is. So they appear when we give short sentences. Are you going to the party? Yes, I am. Or no, I'm not. Do your dogs like to sleep? Yes, they do. So the auxiliary verb also appears in affirmative sentences, but in the short ones. Short sentences, not full answers. In the full answers, the auxiliary verbs do not appear. Imagine that you ask to me, do your dogs like to sleep? If I give you a long answer, a full answer, I can tell you yes, they like to sleep. Short answer, yes, they do. Do you eat after 7 p.m.? Yes, I eat after that time. Full answer. Or yes, I do. Short answer. So we use the auxiliary verbs in affirmative sentences when we provide short answers only. Well, what else? Nothing else. I hope the difference between principal and auxiliary verbs are a little bit clearer now.